your favourite off-road Kiwi triathlete. I'm back to clog up your newsfeed. This time, we're talking bikes. Tips, tricks, and any other random thing I've picked up along the way. We're starting off today with a very basic, clean, a little bit of maintenance after your usual rides. I've taken over the family workshop here at Planet Bike, and I'll talk you through the sort of stuff that we do with our hire fleet. We're pretty big advocates here of the dry clean. We don't use water, no power hosing or anything like that. Just a trusty old brush in your rag. If you really want to get a little bit flash, we've got a little spray here for you. The reason why we don't use any water is while we think bearings, fork seals, all of that sort of stuff is sealed, it's actually not. Your bike shop usually won't tell you this kind of thing because they absolutely love selling you new bearings. Alright, so to start off with, I'm a wheels off kind of guy. So take the wheels off, they're easy to clean. Now if you're a bit of a flash fella, look, you have your nice pink muck off, some kind of bike cleaner. Usually costs a little bit at the local bike shop, but I think it's worth the investment. Or if you're a bit Dutch, tight on the road, you're stuck for luggage space, a little bit of glass cleaner or something from the local supermarket will do just fine. Trusty rag, and all we're going to do is just wipe it all off. Not only is dry cleaning good to save the wallet, stop your water getting in to your bearings, your forks and other places you don't want to be, it's another good opportunity to just, while you're cleaning the bike, just check the bike over. If you had any big benders while you're out riding, a few gnarly things when you came off a drop, clean it with a rag and you'll be able to find any issues with your bike pretty easily. Alrighty, next up, lube and chain. Put in a gear that's kind of mid-range. On the new 12 speed these days, it doesn't go too well going backpedal in the 10 or in the 50. We use a wax-based lube. Squirt, I think, is a favourite among most of the pro athletes on the XTERRA circuit. So we always try and put it on after we ride, not pre-ride. So it has a chance to dry, and that'll form a waxy sort of a layer. It's been pretty dry here, so it's not too bad. But if you rub the chain, you should be able to feel the wax on it. A lot of people I've found seem to not like squirt because they think their chain looks a little bit dirty. That's the exact kind of thing we want. We want the build up of the wax, and that's what helps make our drivetrain last longer, makes our gears operate a little bit better, and that's the most ideal situation. So put in the nice mid-range cassette and just backpedal. Get a really good coating so it looks white. And that'll be it. The idea of this wax and the really muddy stuff is why we don't go for the wet base lube, is that it'll actually flake off, so it won't cake in mud, which is when we get the old school things of getting chain stuck, getting all clogged up in this back cassette with your mud. And it's really bad in a race like Maui where it's so clay based. We get a hard enough job clearing stuff as it is. If we use something like this that will flake off rather than gather mud, it'll make our lives a whole lot easier. Another thing I like to keep an eye on is your chain wear. Now your chain, cassette and front ring, they all wear together. The chain is the first thing that stretches. When it stretches past a certain point, you have to replace everything. Your cassette, your chain and your front ring all together. If you can catch it before you get to that stage, sometimes you can rotate a couple of chains and you get a little bit more lifetime out of your cassette. Cassettes these days are starting to get really pricey. Here in New Zealand, I think we're looking at about $800, $900 for one of these Stream Eagle cassettes. So I don't know, once a week, definitely not every ride, put the chain checker on and just keep an eye on it. They're relatively inexpensive, especially when you're talking, replacing a drivetrain. So at the moment, we're looking at the 0.5. I'm more than okay here. When I get through the 0.5, that's when I want to replace the chain. When it gets over to the 0.75, which is your next one over, that's when I just better go and keep wearing the chain out. Get as much life as I can out of the cassette, and probably not something I would ever go to a race if we're at the 0.75. I go to my shop and I get the whole new shebang to make sure that when I am there, I'm not going to have any issues with my gears slipping. Nice. Now once we've done a clean, a lube, the bike's pretty much ready to go. We just want to do a little bit of a check. We're going to run through the gears. Make sure you don't have a bent derailleur hanger. It doesn't need to be a lot out these days with 12 speed. A very, very minimal amount. will throw everything out. So just have a quick run through. Like start off in the 10 and then just go back up to the 10. Gear by gear. And then back down the other way. We're looking pretty good here. The other common thing that tends to go wrong with tram axis is the V-screw adjustment. We've got this cool little tool here. Hopefully your bikes came with it if you are running tram axis. It just slides in here and you line it up with your 50 tooth. If you need to do any adjusting, there's a V-screw here at the back, and we just want to pull that out, take it in, and just make sure that that last 50 tooth chainring lines up with the line. On these new ones, it's got a minute and a max of where it should be, and that's usually where most of our issues come from. Next is we want to have a look at our brakes, make sure the wheel is spinning nicely, nice and freely. Sometimes when you're out there, you heat up the brakes and they're really hot at the end of a descent. We'll just jam them a little bit and the discs will warp. We're looking pretty good there. Spin the front one, and we are a little bit out. So take your Allen key, loosen up the 2 bolts that hold on the brake caliper, just a little bit so the caliper can move freely. And then you're just going to give that front wheel a really good spin. Now we just want to apply a little bit of pressure on that front brake. And bring the wheel to a stop. And really carefully just do those disc bolts back up. Not too tight yet. Give it another nice little spin. And we have no tinging. So we'll finish the job off, tighten them right up. And that's the easiest, most simple way to adjust your brake calipers to stop your brakes rubbing.